I'm recording. Okay, so Kaleena, go ahead and let us know how you got started in real estate in general, not just luxury, but how did you fall into real estate?
Well, I got out of the Army in 2006. So Fort Leavenworth, Kansas was my last duty station. I actually looked into getting into real estate then. Had no clue, right? So I've always been intrigued by these beautiful homes, but was kind of talked out of it. And so what happened, it's kind of like a short, quick story. I ended up leaving Kansas City. I moved back down to Oklahoma City as an Army recruiter, as a contractor, and absolutely loved it. And, you know, I could walk up to anyone. First of all, I used to be an introvert and I had to switch my way of thinking when I got into sales. So Army recruiting was my first taste in sales. And again, I loved it. I could walk up to anyone, ask them, you know, they didn't know I was a recruiter, because if I was in a suit, you know, a military uniform, they run from you. And I saw it, and it was kind of comical, because they didn't know that, one, I was a veteran, and two, that I was a recruiter. So absolutely flourished in that. I became the #1 recruiter in Oklahoma City. And then in 2009, they got rid of us as contractors. And I was devastated. That was, you know, coming from the military, you are very limited to what you can make. And at that time, we were not allowed to have second jobs. We weren't allowed to, you know, there's a lot of military right now that are they're dual career, so they're military and they're agents. And so we were not allowed to do that then. And I'm thankful that they can now, because our income was very low. And so when I got into sales, I was just like, we got rewarded on how many people that we put in. So it was on a tiered basis, but I was still very selective about who I would want into the ranks to the right and left of me, because, you know, not everybody is fit to be in the military, and not fit like physically, but, you know, stuff that they didn't want to change in their background. So I had to be selective, and I wasn't going to be that person. I'm still selective now on who I work with, because, you know, as much as everybody wants to be a homeowner, maybe they're not yet ready. And so we have to, you know, educate them. When they got rid of us, I looked into real estate then. Obviously, everybody knows what happened in 2008 and 09, that crash. But in Oklahoma, it was, I didn't see it, maybe just because I didn't know about it, but they had the tornadoes down there at that time. And so, you know, all I saw was building. But I also had to take care of my family. So I had to, I went into insurance and worked at Liberty Mutual, loved it. But I didn't like the tornadoes, didn't like the earthquakes that were happening in Oklahoma at that time. So my husband is from Kansas City. And so we moved back up here. Didn't realize that the rates were they were so far off up here than what they were in Oklahoma, that selling Liberty Mutual product up here was completely different. So I was like, oh my gosh, what did I do? So then I decided to go work in the broker realm and learn about other carriers. But when I did that, I kind of messed up, because all my referral sources were real estate agents and lenders being the biggest ones. And so when I did the broker side of things, I partnered up with a lender who had tapped into an insurance company. Well, then there goes all of my lender business. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to take the plunge. If I'm already in sales right now, I'm going to get into real estate. And so in 2013 is when I decided to get licensed in real estate. And I had, you know, when you first get licensed, everything is coming at you in floodgates, and you don't know what you don't know. And so I had a lot to learn. In 2013 into 14, I was on a team, but then I also left KW, because I started at KW on a team, went to a small boutique broker. And then I also went back to work full-time in insurance. So then I was dual career at that time and was just learning what I needed to. So I came back full-time in real estate in November of 2017. And then I've just been learning and growing ever since.
I love it. So, wow, that was a lot. So I know.
Like, sorry.
I'm sure you told me you had the insurance background. Of course, I know about your military background, because we kind of bonded over that, being part of the military community at Keller Williams, and also a few other communities, including luxury. So I just love that you're able to do both. And we are going to touch on that. When did you, specific to luxury, when did you fall in love with luxury, and how did that all come to play?
Oh, well, when I first moved to Kansas City, even in Oklahoma City, the homes, they're the big, beautiful homes that you would see on the golf courses, and never imagining that I would be one selling them or being able to enter them or anything like that. So just like seeing them from afar, and I'm from a small town in Michigan, and I grew up with nothing. So I've had to work and fight my way all the way through for everything that I've had. And have accomplished and everything. So I just wanted more for myself. But getting into luxury here, it was initially it was a $500,000 entry, like a sale point to get in. And so when I did that, and I think it was like 2 at 500,000 in KW, and then I got to go to Boca, and then seeing all the beautiful homes there and just the yachts, and I wanted to learn more. So that's when I started networking and trying to ensure that I was learning as much as I possibly could, and being able to just open up your mind and being around the right people that can teach you. And I remember the Kinks were the first ones that I talked to at our Boca retreat at the white and pink party. And I was just blown away by his knowledge, and he's in Texas. And I was like, holy cow, do I need to move to Texas? You know, because moving for me was easy, but no, I stayed here and just kind of gotten established.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, now I'm realizing more and more why we get along so much, because I was born in Colorado, so I have a true love for Colorado. I did spend many summers there, also Wyoming area, had grandparents in both places, but I lived in Oklahoma for a short period of time, and pretty much we had to start over. It was 1985, interest rates were 17%. So I hope you all hear that, 17%. So our 5%, or even 4.5, I mean, this is still kind of free money at this point, the way I look at it. And we had to start over moving here in Florida. And so, started pretty much from nothing, just crawling my way up. And I was actually in graduate school, and I was like, I don't want to be in real estate, but I knew I could make some money over the summer. And then, just like you said, just being learning based, realizing how much you can grow and continue to learn in the business. I had no idea. So I love hearing that. Now, you are a part of different communities. And so one thing that I love is how you network between different communities. And if you're not with Keller Williams on here, I'm sure you have communities or tribes where you all get together and mastermind. So we have military, you're part of sports and entertainment, which we're going to jump on a call immediately after this for a crossover between luxury and sports and entertainment, but you're heavily involved with the military. And I love what you do and how you represent your clients. So tell us how there's crossover. And for some people, they think if you sell luxury, that's all you do, right? So tell us how you kind of blend. I know you represent a lot of professional athletes as well.
So being a solo agent, you have to, and one of the top referred agents in Kansas City, you have to basically take what's coming at you and service them at a high level, no matter what. So I don't care if it's $100,000 buyer or a $3 million buyer, but you have to, I mean, I do care because there is different levels of service, but at the same time, when you're working with them, you just have to help them with the military. I am the Heartland, the Greater Heartland ambassador for the KW military. And then when it comes to sports and entertainment, I've been with Jordan for 3 years now, and his Next Move Network, which he started before, which is not brand agnostic. He started that before KWSE. So when he was starting to talk about like the sports and entertainment and this opportunity, I thought it was amazing. And he sent me a referral. It was a rental. I had no clue of how to even work with the rentals, but because I had taken the luxury course through the Institute of Luxury Home Marketing, I had learned about the tools that we had available to us and being able to run backgrounds on like checking, are these guys even worth what they're saying that they're worth? Because if you're taking care of a rental property, you want to make sure that it's not, that you don't mess up. So that was a lot of pressure, but I did it. And then I ended up selling that property last year for him. So it just, when you're with these communities, you have to kind of like a chameleon, have to adapt, right? So with the military, you're one way. And with them, I tapped into the recruiting stations here because, Army recruiter. I haven't gone to I went to the Army, and because that's what I'm familiar with, that's what I know. And so they're always coming in and out, and they help me with like, hey, I've got so-and-so coming in, can you help them with a client? Or we've got the base. And so just tapping into the Facebook groups are the biggest thing, because I get a lot of referrals off from that, but also the base referrals, I get tagged a lot on those and help them out too. So, and then when it comes to the athletes, the wives, they have my name, like the Royals players, they have my name in a group, right? And so anytime that they come in, that's when I have to immediately drop everything. And it's not that I'm putting anybody off to the side, but I've got my little resource of Airbnb owners that I will like, hey, when are you full? Do you have anything available? Because those are the ones that don't know how long they're going to be here. And it's easiest because they have already furnished homes. And so just trying to work with them like that and being able to make sure they're taken care of. You've got to adapt to what you're working with.
So what I'm hearing is you're not turning down a rental lead. And I remember having a conversation with Jordan Stewart when I first joined Next Move before he got appointed in charge of Keller Williams Sports Entertainment. Now he's global.
It's pretty awesome.
It's crazy. I remember having this conversation with him. I mean, this was on a Saturday. He has children, he has a family, and we were on the phone for like an hour or two. And I'm like, Jordan, I don't know how long you've been running Next Move. I am honored and privileged to be a part of it. And it was broker agnostic, and I didn't care. I was going to refer to who the expert was in that area and vice versa. So it was a great opportunity to meet people in this huge referral network that were really passionate about taking care of sports and entertainment and celebrity of all statuses. I mean, people coming in for spring training. I remember, we don't get really paid on rentals. I don't know how it works in your area. I mean, it's just to build a relationship. It's just to help them go, oh my gosh, I hope you have a place to stay. And I don't know if you had the same issues with COVID, but they didn't know if they were coming and when they were coming. So we had a team of people from many different brokerages helping to get all of these gentlemen and their families, if they were bringing, wives and children, in a home. And like you said, you've got to have those connections. So I know you're a big networker, so you're even going outside of your brokerage, your market center, and you are reaching out to owners of these Airbnbs. We have 2 property management companies and the 2 market centers I own. And what I love is they're the first ones to say, hey, I don't have anything, but I know about this property that is maybe an owner doing it on their own, and we're all in it together. So having that team. So I know you're a part of a lot of different Facebook groups, and you're really big on social media. Like, I don't know how you do it, but every time I go on to social media, I'm like, there's Kaleena again. I mean, you are helping other agents get business. You're not just on there promoting yourself. You're always getting tagged, but you're also supporting the experts in different areas. So tell me a little bit about how you make that all happen and how you've built those relationships with people you might not even met in the past.
So I do get to know everybody that I am tagging. I get to know their location, where they service, what they specialize in, because not everybody is, even I might know one great person, but there might be 5 others that I know too in that area that would better fit that client. But at the same time, when it comes to tagging, people are going out to social media to find that expert in the area, and they do go off from the ones that have been tagged the most. You can call it a fan club if you want, but it's, we spend years building those relationships. When I came back to Keller in February of 2018, my first event was actually Mega Camp. I had just missed or wasn't yet ready to go to family reunion. And, but I went to Mega Camp, and I met Jackie Stratton out of Colorado. And if you guys don't know her, you guys might want to get to know her, because she knows everybody. And she took me around, and she hung out with me at Mega Camp and introduced me to everyone. And it just opened up a different world for me. So I used to be that person that would buy leads and smile and dial all day long. I hated it, and it didn't satisfy me. I would much rather spend time connecting with agents and being able to get to know people and their families and, their interests and hobbies, and being able to have those warm relationships versus wasting money on Zillow or realtor.com or whatever that, I was spending money on at the time, and being able to just not only, it's not always what's in it for me, right? Because everybody's all about that, what's in it for them. But you have to be able to help others and be willing to help others and be genuine about it and get to know them and know that, you know, what you're saying out there on those posts is accurate information. Because I'm like, okay, well, I can look up their numbers and I don't really think that's accurate, but you're testifying for them. So you just make sure that what you're saying is like the truth. And so that's what we have started doing. And it's been since 2018, I'm building out these Facebook relationships. I drive a lot because I'm a solo agent again. And so when I'm driving, I'm always on my phone. So don't, but I'm always in those Facebook groups too. So it's just, I get bored when I'm driving, and I cover like a 45-mile radius around the city. So I can literally go from one end to another, and I'll be in a car all day long. So that's how I got into all of that.
So trust but verify is what I'm hearing. And you do the same thing with the professional athletes and the celebrities that are coming into Kansas City using, I'm assuming you use the Wealth Engine or OWL, something on that.
I do
too. I love that. So of course, you know, you want to service them and make sure they're also, you know, who they say they are. And that way you're valid to any sellers. So speaking of the conferences, we do have Mega Camp coming up. And if you're on here from another brokerage, obviously Inman was just here. Hopefully people went to Inman. There's Luxury Connect. There's all different conferences. So just in general, Mega Camp is for, you know, top agents. When you are attending a conference, whether it's a KW conference or it's outside, could be Tom Ferry, Boomtown, I go to so many. What is it that you strategically do in the weeks or months leading up prior to the event? And how do you set up these kind of networking events? I mean, is your calendar kind of already booked before you go with these meetings?
Yeah. Probably overbooked because everybody wants to have a party, right? They want to be the host. They want to be the ones that are known about. And you have to see like who's doing what, and then go to the ones that are going to be like most value to you. I don't drink anymore. So that used to be like, hey, you go to them and then you know that you're going to drink, right? Well, then you tend to act a fool if you drink. So getting into bodybuilding, it really helped me and changed my, I don't want to drink anymore. And it was, I go and I network, and I might pop in, I might pop out, you know, but at the same time, I connect before I hit any of those conferences. I was actually supposed to go to the Luxury Connect conference in Vegas, and I ran out of time. And so I'm actually missing that this year, and we'll go next year. But, you know, these different conferences, it's just to open up my world, one, for the knowledge, and two, to meet new people. And so because there's such a transient of, you know, people moving from wherever to wherever, I want to help if they're coming to Kansas City, I want to be the one that's known to help them in Kansas City. And then back to the athletes real quick. One thing that I do with them is I make everybody sign an NDA, so non-disclosure agreement, before they are even, and before I enter the house. They know that it's a player of some sort. They don't know if it's the Royals or the Chiefs or whomever, but they end up signing these NDAs. And so my clients know that I'm taking care of them in that aspect, that they're going to be protected and nobody's going to know where they're living at.
Yeah. And I think that's so important, that discretion with most luxury clients, let alone someone that's in the real public eye. You know, right. Sometimes there's the retired CEOs and it's like, they're no longer in the public eye. That's kind of what we deal with in Sarasota. So I have to be mindful when it is someone that's still really recognizable and noticeable to remember to do that. And I also think it's important, and you do an excellent job at this. This is just why you're on here, is you don't post anything that they don't want out there on those social media. As much as you're actively involved on social media, you know, you're not posting anything that would allow people to know where they're purchasing.
Right. Well, I have one right now. We talked about the wives earlier. They're actually purchasing with me right now. And so I got with their agent and I said, hey, we need to get an LLC set up before everybody signed an NDA right now. But before it goes into title, we need to have an LLC set up. So that people don't know. Our biggest quarterback, everybody knows where he lives at because this stuff is out on the tax record. It's crazy that wasn't taken care of. And I was just like, wow. I'm still shocked about that. So, he had issues with people just driving up to his property when he first, when when we won the Super Bowl. And so it's one of those things that I'm like, come on, it's just common sense of like protecting people. So even it doesn't even have to be an athlete. If we have a big person here that is here for whatever reason, I mean, we've got Metaverse up in North Kansas City now. So, when some of those actually, when it gets bigger here, then we have to protect them too. So it's about the protection for me and just making sure that they know that I'm going to take care of them.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, we have a specific athlete that lives here and he lives on the water. So you see all these people, slow down their boat to stop by and see if he's sitting in his pool. And it's like, this poor guy, gosh. But yeah, I think setting up that a trust or an LLC, however, again, their CPA and attorney advise them. I think that's also important. Having your trusted team of attorneys, CPAs, anyone that's going to be able to help advise them. Wealth advisors, I'm really particular about who I introduce to them just based on, my experience and who's really going to guide them the best and not take advantage, because I think that's one thing they're taken advantage of quite frequently. And that's our name
all
on
the
it.
time.
Yeah, it's so known in the industry. And that's what I love about Jordan and Jason. They have made it such a part of their mission to educate, especially athletes that are up and coming before they get that big contract, how to wealth build. And I know that's my mission. My mission is to help as many people as possible in my community increase their net worth. And that they'll give back. I know they're going to give back in some philanthropic way. And of course, it's just going to make the entire community better. All right. So we have about 5 minutes left before we open it up to questions. So I'm going to touch on two more things. Obviously you're a solo agent. Do you have like anyone on the back end operations wise supporting you in any way?
I have my daughter. She's right next to me listening to all this. So she helps me on the admin side of things and the transaction coordinating. I still do a lot of it on my own, just because last year I was 100% on my own last year. So I closed 92 homes. And I was just constantly running around like a chicken.
Wait, hold on. We need to repeat that. 92 homes without anyone supporting you in operations.
Yeah. And then one lease. So technically it was 93 units last year. And the lease I don't really count because I didn't get paid off from it. But that actually was a player that opened me up to a lot more players this year. So no, I just ran around like a chicken with my head cut off because with COVID, I didn't know nobody knew what was going to happen. Right. And that's when I probably really started diving into, instead of doing all the Zooms that were happening, I started diving into the relationships, and that really paid off. Like 2020, I did 77 homes. Like 22 of those deals were actually from Jordan. He referred me, former athletes that had investment properties here. So it ended up being 22 doors. And so that was amazing, and being able to help them sell it and think again back outside of the box. So 77 in 2020, 92 or 93 last year. And then so far I've closed 47 this year, and I have 11 pending right now. And I'm always watching my numbers. And so I'm pretty hands-on with everything just because I need to know what's going on. I do have a showing assistant that helps me with, from time to time, especially when I'm out of town. And, but I'm very, very particular about who I'm giving them to. So if it's somebody that is, there's a lot that just want to work with me, and I have to tell them like, hey, I'm already out with somebody, but he's going to take great care of you, or she's going to take great care of you. So it's, I don't have a team, but yet I do have a team, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I love hearing that because obviously, especially when you're getting the amount of referrals that you have, and I love that you've hired your daughter. That's like, keep it in the family. And how old is she?
She's 21. So she gets married next month. And yeah, so it's, a lot going on there too. And, she bought a house last year, so she's learning all of this as we're going on too. So it's just, definitely would love to keep it in the family. And, but that's one thing that I, started saying from the beginning. I didn't have all of this growing up. Right. So I've worked technically since I was 10 years old, babysitting. And then, my first real job at 14, when I was actually allowed to work. And then in the Army, I actually went in at 21. So, just trying to, keep everything moving the way that I've wanted it to. Has it been a struggle? Absolutely. But, you know, at the end of the day, my kids are grown. I don't have little ones that I have to worry about. My husband, he travels with me. So, I mean, that's when we spend our time together. Otherwise I work, I get bored. And so I work out and I work.
Well, I love how supportive he is. I've had the honor and privilege of spending time with both of you at some of the conferences. And I mean, just the way he looks at you when you're talking, it's like he is your biggest cheerleader. I'm like, oh, it just makes me so happy. I love to have the whole family involved. And one thing I know about you is you're so disciplined. That's one thing I respect, is discipline in a human being. And just listening to you talk about, you know, the bodybuilding, and I've seen you in a bikini, so I will let everyone know she is definitely at the gym. I don't think I want to take any pictures next to you at Cabo. I'm like, you go stand over there, Kaleena. And I appreciate you sending me those wedding dress websites. Congratulations to your daughter on getting married. But
congratulations to you.
Thank you. I think we met in Cabo. So I think that's when we met, was COVID had hit, and obviously, and most companies were shutting down meeting in person. And we had a small group of people, and figured we could do it at a resort outside. We did everything either by the pool or at the beach, had our little dance parties, masterminds, and breakfast, lunch, and dinners. And then we had some speakers. So I'm so glad I got to meet you, and I know how learning based you are. So I really, really feel grateful to have you in our world and on here today. Without further ado, it's 12:30. I like to be really prompt because I know some of us are jumping on the next mastermind. That's the crossover with sports and entertainment and luxury. There was one question in the chat I'm going to address, and then I'm going to open it up. If you're on mute, use your space bar to come on and off mute, or if you'd like to raise your hand, I'm happy to call on you. Eric said that, or asked, I'm part of KWSC, which is Keller Williams Sports and Entertainment, since January. How will that work with luxury? Will that be explained on the 2 o'clock? Yes, we're going to talk about the crossover. There are many people that are a member of different communities. And again, if you're with a different brokerage, I'm sure you have some sort of internal network of, you know, identifying who that person is that specializes in sports and entertainment, or something with celebrities and athletes that you can go and mastermind with. So, all right. I hope that answers your question, Aaron. And it's 12:31. So let's open it up to any Q&A with Kaleena. See if I got.
Hi, Gia, I see your hand.
Okay.
Hey.
Hi, Lovey.
Hi. Okay. I have a question I've been dying to ask. Since you've been talking about all the stuff that you've got going on, one, I feel similar in the shoes of there's a lot that you're a part of and you're trying to keep organized and, you know, move forward. So my main question is, how do you keep organized with everything to make sure that you're keeping up with your clients, keeping up with your family, all the groups that you're a part of? What's the best organization skills that you've learned over the years?
So I'm a visual person. I have to see, like, when I set my goals, like every year, I have to see how I'm going to get to those goals. So I have a spreadsheet that I follow and I look at, and you keep seeing me go over to the other screen because I'm looking at my spreadsheet. So I know what's in my pipeline, what's coming. And then I know like what my overall goal was for the year. So with my clients, it's that. And when I'm doing like my referrals, I mark everything down. I know like who the referral came from because I don't want to drop the ball, you know, and credit that person that, you know, was willing to trust me with their client. Gia actually is one of those. So, but it's just, I don't know how I do it. My phone is my Bible for everything. And so I don't know, it's something that I can't get out of my head, unfortunately. And that's why I'm so like hands-on with all of my stuff. It's hard for me to let go and let somebody do something because I know what's going on in my little bubble world. I don't know how to answer that one.
I would just say for me, I mean, we're part of many communities on my team. Land, we did 221 land units last year. We're part of luxury. We're leading with the market center that I own in South County, Sarasota, in luxury sales. So we're like crushing our competition right now. And I can't wait to see the numbers at the end of the year. But being the regional luxury ambassador, I'm like, we better be selling the most in the luxury threshold price point. I will say, using a CRM, we have Command, which is owned by KW. We own our technology, but we also have Boomtown. So, if you do have more than one person on your team, I think you kind of have to leverage some sort of software. We still have that good old fashioned spreadsheet though, Kaleena. I can't get away from spreadsheets either. I'm a numbers person, so I want to track everything. Just having systems in place. If you are struggling with that, I think a great book is The One Thing. I've read it multiple times. We do book club. It's not about real estate. So if you're on here and you want to learn how to time block or write down your goals, we do a GPS. It's goals, priorities, and strategies. And then we bring our 411s to our team meeting every Friday at noon. It's a hybrid of in-person and Zoom because we've expanded. And that just kind of helps everybody on the team keep track. But if you're an individual agent, like, these all apply. We even do couples goal planning at home. So there's a whole plan for that. And we kind of touch base on that quarterly. I'm working to get Brian to do it monthly, but I have to ease him into my very systematic way of living. And I would say, just pick out the conferences that you want to go to ahead of time and kind of plan your vacations the year prior. I know I have to do that to stay organized. So it's a lot of time blocking and living by your calendar. It's really that simple. Sounds easier than. All right. Does anyone else have a question?
Ernie's hand is up.
Okay, go ahead, Ernie.
Hey guys, thank you for doing this. Kaleena, nice to see you.
Hey.
How you doing? I also had the same question as far as time management, stuff like that. This is the question I have, because I do a lot of volunteering. So how do you, I know it's hard to say, but we're thinking business, right? I am the KW Military Regional Ambassador for North Florida, and Kaleena is part of the same group I'm part of. And I hear a lot what she's doing. She's very similar people, and I just wanted to pick her brain. How does she deal with other types of events like volunteering, other groups? Are you very selective? Because I heard a couple of things already. I just want to pick your brain a little bit more.
I am very selective, because back to my insurance networking days, I would go do everything, right? And I would see, like, how can I get involved? How can I do this? How can I do that? And it came to a time when I was doing so much and my sales were not there. And so it would take away from my business. I would always think that it would hopefully one day bring me business, but it did sometimes, but not always. So I really limit my networking around here. I don't go to any of our local events. As bad as it seems, I just don't. Because I'm usually out with clients, or I use that time for my downtime, because I know there's a lot of things that I should be getting involved in. That's one thing I don't have the time for right now. And it's not something that I'm comfortable with adding into my calendar. I do my client events. I do, which I have one coming up next week. I have a big one coming up next week. But, so my clients are my world and my family is my world. And so outside of that, even my referral partners, those are, if you think about it, they're my friends, but also they're my clients too. I have to service them as well. So that's my world. And that's what unfortunately, some of it is not volunteering right now, but I do try to help people. I just joined the American Dream. And so my first series was, I got into, he's not even a veteran, but he's helped so many veterans with helping with PTSD and getting service animals or wheelchairs, so he's going to be on my first segment of it. And then even connecting with builders. So helping that way and try to get the word out, I will absolutely do that. But going to those events where there's drinking involved or just, socializing, that is not going to be, if I don't have the time for it, I want to be there and not worried about what's going on, like in my business world. And so if I don't have the time to volunteer or help out the way that I want to, then that's not fair to them either.
Thank you for answering.
Thank you for the question, Ernie. I appreciate it. I think what I'm hearing is you're really purposeful with your time. So
I am.
you're very selective. I'm hearing that over and over again and listening to you speak. And Ernie, what I do is I am very purposeful as well. I only get involved with anything that I'm very passionate about. So I have 3 organizations that I participate with. One is Operation Second Chance, which Kaleena knows about because we're both in the military group or the community. It's a charity that a lot of people don't know about, but we keep the anonymity of a lot of the gentlemen coming back from overseas that do a lot of special operations. So we will have a retreat for them in Sarasota. There is no press. We do not put a lot on social media. Oftentimes, if we do for the organization, the founder, Cindy, we have to get clearance, and then we might have to even block out certain people's faces if they're still very actively involved. But that's something I'm really passionate about. And I had an opportunity to go to a retreat with some of the veterans up in Maryland. And this lady, I mean, what she does for people suffering with PTSD. I mean, there was a veteran there that she said rode a horse in her little arena, which we're raising money to get that covered because it's really hot. And she said, he started crying because he had been contemplating suicide for almost 2 years. And that trip made a difference in his whole world, him being able to go on that trip. So I think do something close to your heart that really is meaningful, and then it won't feel like you're taken away from spending time with your family, because these women and ladies and gentlemen have become a part of my family. The second thing is I'm the chair for Raisin Realtors Charitable Foundation. We have an affordability issue where we live. So we raise funds to contribute to homeless or to scholarships for young adults or realtors that are also going through a crisis, because not everyone has a KW Cares. So this is kind of like a KW Cares fund that we season the money in to help people. We had a realtor that had a hip surgery and the insurance only covered so much. So there was some money sent to that family. And then other nonprofits like Habitat for Humanity, different things locally. And then Moat Marine, we have a lot of people moving here. So we want to make sure we keep clean water in Florida. So Moat Marine's been around since I was a kid, and we are raising money to build a new facility. So, just pick something that is in your heart, and then it won't seem like you're spending time away from your family, because they'll become your family.
I appreciate it. I do a lot of volunteering, so I just needed feedback to grow my business. I haven't broke the ceiling. And I just see the same thing every year. And so I heard a couple things she said. And again, please, this is just because I'm trying to think of business, and you guys are very successful. So I just wanted to hear your feedback because I do a lot. So I don't, like she said, family and your circle first. And I just wanted to pick the brains. I do appreciate the truthful answers because it helps me. I'm not a luxury agent, and I just completed my 4th one within 9 months, and it's military, they buy very high. So I appreciate this feedback. I'm sorry for talking so much. Thanks, guys.
It's great. We love all your questions. That's why we're on here. We want a mastermind, and there might be someone that doesn't speak up like you, Ernie, and they might be an introvert, right, Kaleena? And then you're going to help get an answer to them that they're wanting to ask. So thank you. We have a question in the chat. Do you work in pre-construction at all? And if so, what is the best way to market luxury agents in other markets? I'll let Kaleena answer this one, and I'll pipe in and add anything I think will be of value.
So in other markets, there's actual luxury offices, and we don't have that here. So one thing that I've been working on since getting involved in luxury is bringing on a luxury office. Well, I went to one of the builders that I've known for years, and we are actually in the process of opening up a mega agent office, and it will be our luxury office. So his price points start at $750, and they go all the way up into the millions. And so that is going to end up being our luxury office. But yes, I do pre-construction a lot, and with the luxury clients, you just have to make sure that the process is going as smoothly as possible. As much as you can. I mean, there's always going to be the timeline issues, no matter what. Even pre-COVID, there was always the issues, but making sure, they tell you the budget that they want to stay in, I always try to, help remind them like, hey, you're way over budget here. Are you sure you want to do that? So, but the biggest thing that we have working right now is the luxury office that is almost signed, sealed, and going to be delivered soon, which will be awesome.
I love hearing that. So I'll have to pick your brain on that later, because I bought a commercial building years ago before there was a KW in South County, Sarasota, and I want to turn that into the luxury office. And then I'm looking at buying more space because we've outgrown this little, 3,000 square foot office, which I thought was really cool to have on the island. And now it's like, oh my gosh, we have a Northport office too for our productivity coaching program and new agents. And on average, they're closing 1 to 2 deals per month for brand new agents. So I love having that, but we need like a bigger space. So I would love to maybe chat with you offline about that. I think that will be valuable. We do a lot of new construction. If you are with KW, we have KW New Homes, and the gentleman that runs that has a development and national track builder home background. However, we're starting to see even some of those builders get into that luxury price point just based on market. But we did a luxury and KW New Homes crossover mastermind. I thought that was really valuable. You can certainly get the recording. If you're with another company, yes, go out there and meet with builders like Kaleena's discussing. I recently went out and helped some of the agents on my team get some deals because the builder had been using all these different realtors, and I started to see the sales decline. So I reached out and said, do you have an exclusive with anyone right now? And he said, no, we're looking for land. And I'm like, well, that's what I like to do. I like to look for land, or maybe assemble the lots and then match the custom builder that's appropriate for that area. And then you can go you get paid on the land, which is amazing. And then you get paid at slab here, and then you get paid at the end. So that built my pipeline. I mean, with the market shifting right now, I'm still getting checks in from that. And I'm like, oh, totally forgot about this closing. Let me go check this off my spreadsheet. So it's a great way to always have business.
I see a question in there about the client events. My next week, this is my second year of doing a Chiefs preseason opening game. And so it's the big tailgating party, VIP area. Last year we had 80, this year I'll have 100 and almost 140 that will be there. And so I partner up with lenders to, help me out with that. But every quarter also I have partnered with Vibrancy 21, and they're in all areas that there's a major football team. So you guys have them there, but we do events for that. I do pop buys for my clients. I always try to stay top of mind. I also have a Facebook group, a VIP Facebook group that I put everybody into. So I always, make sure that I'm keeping everybody updated in there. So everybody talks about their CRM. Well, I go to social media because everybody's out there. So I don't unfortunately use a CRM like I should be. I have it, I just don't use it. It's my spreadsheet and it's social media for me and my phone. So.
No, I love it. I think whatever works. I mean, Facebook's even come up with a CRM. So, I'm certainly in no way like going, oh, you have to use Command. There's a lot of people from other brokerages, whatever works for you that keeps you organized. I love hearing about the client events. We do 4 a year. And I think some of them, are okay to do online, especially if you're heavily involved on Facebook. I took notes. I love the VIP Facebook group. So you're giving me so many ideas. So if you hear me typing, I'm just typing notes. I'm certainly not ignoring you all. This is just really valuable for me. I love learning while I'm doing this. John Lake, you have your hand up, and then I'll go to Sherry next.
Good afternoon, everyone. Just a quick comment and maybe an idea to share success stories. At one point in my career, I was, first of all, I'm a lender, and we were a proud sponsor of our local football team that won a few championships years ago in New England. And realtors, you guys can work with everyone on the team because you're selling the property, and a lot of the players who have gotten their paydays and big contracts really don't need me as a lender. I usually find myself working with rookies, people coming on board, getting a short-term non-guaranteed contract and things like that, where it makes lending very, very difficult. What I have found and what has been successful was when I'm dealing with the players, reaching out to their agent. To me, when I start talking with their agent and I can communicate with them and help them understand what I'm looking for in contracts and documents, it helps build a pipeline so that when this agent has a player who is coming on as someone coming out of college or a rookie or who doesn't have a guarantee or a big contract or a lot of money is looking for a house, they usually need a mortgage. So building that trust, that high moment of trust with the agent can build a lot of referral and repeat business. And sometimes people forget that the agent is actually an attorney who is negotiating on behalf of that player. So they have a lot of the documents that I need. But it makes it easier for me to start building a pipeline of players who come in every year. And I don't know if you guys have kind of connected with agents, but I think that would be certainly a huge feather in your cap, especially if you look out for them, because it does take a village.
Yeah, if you are part of our KW Sports Entertainment community, Jordan and Jason talk a lot about that. So there's a lot of training on that, a lot of masterminding around that. So if you're not, certainly get together with the agents in your brokerage. There has to be someone like John or Kaleena that has some experience. And I remember when I first started real estate, I was going to all the people looking to almost retire. We had a lot of agents that after the last boom were just, okay, I'm done with real estate. I need to spend time with my family, and they were retiring. So I went and just picked their brain. And I'm like you, Kaleena, I was working at 11 years old in a little telemarketing place, writing out envelopes, and I have the worst handwriting. So I had to use a ruler, and I was getting paid like, I don't know, like $200 a week cash. I don't even know why my parents let me work there. It was like the oddest situation, but I was like, drop me off after school and pick me up at this time. And so the first real estate office I worked in, I was a receptionist. I wasn't even licensed. So again, I was just kind of working my way up. And I just remember, following around these agents and like a little puppy dog, asking them as many questions and taking them to lunch. And I barely had enough money to feed myself at lunch, but I just knew like there was valuable information from people that have experience like John and Kaleena in this. Okay, Sherry, thanks for the question, John. Sherry, can you come off mute and ask your question?
Yes, good afternoon, everyone. And thank you once again, Kaleena and Brandy, for such an informative opportunity to speak to you. I am speaking to you from a smaller town in Florida, and the luxury market is indirectly tied to kind of the sports arena and in terms of college sports. But it's a very insular market. And so I wanted to just get some tips on, I've had deals, luckily more deals than a lot of people, but I want to get some ideas, some just starting points of where you think or how you think we could gain market entry in the best way. And I love the idea of the events. So that's something that I will be stealing, as well as the idea of the Facebook group, which I had already thought about. But if you have any other tips in terms of market entry into a very saturated market, I would love that.
All right, Kaleena, you're up.
So you said college, so that made me think of the name, image, likeness deals that are happening right now with the college sports. So the NIL deals. What are you with KW? You are?
Yes, I am.
So get with Jordan and Jason on that, because they can definitely tell you how to, if you're not with KWSE, you should join it. It's well worth the $199 a month. And then you're going to learn so much within that. But these college players can actually receive money now, and you can help sponsor them, right? So you're going to try to go after it's not easy. You have to figure out like who your top players are, who they're going to be in the future, where they're going to go at. And it's, again, go to Jordan and Jason on those questions, because they will be able to give you all that information. And again, if you're not part of KWSE, join now. It's never too late. And you can go back through the material and being able to, get those answers. With the college sports, though, a lot of them are going to be out on Twitter and or any sports. So go to Twitter and start following the ones that you're wanting to connect with. I actually got a baseball player, a football player from Twitter, because he's like, hey, Kansas City, I need a real estate agent. And so I went to, I don't even know how I saw it, but I saw it. I just had a baseball player that I placed into an Airbnb within an hour or two of him having a need. So he endorsed me on Twitter. And then I went to Instagram to the wife. So you have to follow, like if it's a male and you're a female, don't go straight to him. Don't DM and don't do it. He's not a decision maker anyways. His significant other is going to be that. So I was able to help that football player and get them situated where they needed to be. But because I was the first one in her DMs, she went, came back to me and said, hey, please help us, because her DMs started filling up really fast about like, I can help you once everybody figured it out.
Great.
Thank you.
Thanks for the question. It's a great question. And I will say, just in a small town, we have a market center in Venice, which is South County, Sarasota. And honestly, it's just that one step at a time, like Kaleena's talking about. We never thought we'd be leading in luxury sales. We had so much competition. Like the Sotheby's have been there for 30 years. Michael Saunders, a local group, has been there for probably 45 years. Same thing with Coldwell, and everybody loved the Coldwell brokers. So I'm like coming from a bigger city, not small city, but a big city compared to this town as the broker, knew no one. I was from Sarasota, like central, and we've just built it over time, and with a great team leader, which for those of you at other brokerages, that's like your manager or someone that's kind of running the office. And it just took time, but once we built those relationships, like the business started just coming in. And we're near the Braves stadium, so we just went to the Braves spring training stadium and just started having client events there. Like Kaleena was saying, having like little VIP events, different agents in my office. We met the manager who runs everything. I mean, she now calls some of these team members on my team or agents in the office and says, we need to place some of these guys in properties. And then of course you keep taking care of them. They're eventually going to buy or sell or know someone. So, okay, we have 2 more questions. I know Kaleena and I have to jump off right at 1. So I'm going to get to those. We have 6 minutes left. So Sherry, I believe you were up next. Sherry Castro.
Hi.
Hi, how are you, gorgeous?
I'm doing good. So my question is very specific. I was very blessed to earn a waterfront property listing. And I started my marketing plan by doing a neighbor open and sending personal invitations to all the neighbors, because there's a lot of gated private properties and surrounding gated communities. So my question is, outside of open houses, what creative strategies have you utilized to reach out to the neighbors to expand your possible, database, and break into that luxury, clientele?
So I use, on my luxury listings, I use Proxio through the Institute. So I make sure that it actually goes out worldwide on the listings. But also back to social media, I blast everything in all of the groups, and you can run campaigns. You can target those campaigns to specific needs of what people are looking for and where they're coming from. I also, Corfact, you can send out like mail outs, and that's what I do here, but you guys have a different market there where I'm interested to hear what you guys actually do.
I've done direct mailers, and like I said, I did the private party where I invited them. I mean, I had it valeted. I mean, I tried to do it as exclusive as possible. I've done targeted marketing, obviously through Facebook, where I'm, capturing those markets where they're relocating. But ultimately, my goal was to try to meet some of the neighbors, possibly gain some more homeowners that may want to list as well, or maybe they may know someone as well. So yes, maybe Brandy or anyone else that has tips, I would be very curious.
Of course, I'm not in heavy production. I have a team and I'm in leadership now, but what I've done in the past and what some of the team members do with some of these luxury listings is you want to go through the tax records. And if they are not, in a Delaware trust where you can't find out who they are, you can pretty much find them with a good old fashioned Google search. Like, are they an attorney? Are they a CPA? Like, are they a retired CEO? What kind of business were they in? You can usually find them on LinkedIn or Facebook. But I think LinkedIn is kind of underutilized in my opinion. We have tons of people that follow us on there that we've made connections with. And then, definitely don't come from a scarcity mindset. Don't just invite the neighbors, invite the top brokers that have sold in that neighborhood before. Most of my deals are from those agent connections. All the we had not one deal fall through during COVID. And I heard all these nightmare stories, and it was because I had built relationships with agents at a super high professional level. And they had so much respect that they would never take my client. And they also knew better, but at this event, you're hosting it. So invite the neighbors and invite the other agents. It's okay to have them at the same event. I mean, if you're showing the most value, first of all, you're the only one hosting the event. They aren't. And they're guests there. You're going to win over that relationship because you're going to come from knowledge and, again, just value. What are you providing for them? And once they get to know you, it doesn't matter. They might have a realtor they used years ago, but if you're showing up and they keep seeing you, it's brand awareness over time. So I think you're doing the right steps. You can just add maybe a little bit of social media, like Kaleena said.
And just get creative and have fun with it. And that's the last thing I'll say, because I know we got 2 minutes.
Yeah, I know. We both have to get another call. So Marisol, you're next. And then if you have any other questions, Kaleena did put her contact information in the chat. Make sure you collect other people's contact information and put them in your CRM or your cell phone. I'm going to get Kaleena on that. And make sure you put where they're from so you have that person you can reach out to. Marisol, you're up.
Hi, Brandy. How are you?
I'm doing well. I love all these beautiful faces on here. We have two Sherrys. We have Marisol. I love it.
Kaleena, I'm so excited. I can't wait to meet you at Mega Camp next week, finally meet you in person. My question is, you mentioned about events and pop-bys. What else do you do as a follow-up, lead follow-up to someone? Maybe you got a lead, you haven't really connected with them, or maybe someone that you've done business with in the past, but you want to keep following up with them, maybe for referrals or repeat business.
So that's where for my past clients, that's where I have slacked big time on, because I've always been on the go. And that's where I revert back to my client events. And that way I can stay in front of them that way. So it's not always sports related that I do these events around. I do a lot of kid related events, because there are, clients have kids and they like to, take them and have fun with them. So last fall we went to a pumpkin patch and had professional photographers out there and was able to help them there. So I stay in front of them through the client events. And I do have an automated drip campaign with my clients that they are set up on. I actually do have Happy Grasshopper as my CRM, and they're great because they'll go through and do like major campaigns for you. And then when they spit them out, I don't know what they're sending out. I don't know until people start replying, and I had to pretend like it was me that sent it out. But it's great that I can stay in front of people that way. And like, hey, I'm looking to sell my house. I'm like, you just bought the darn thing. What are you thinking? But that's where I have slacked in the past. So I know that's one of my weak points, but I am fixing that through Happy Grasshopper.
We have one other question, and it's actually from a friend of mine, Jessica Kinney. She was talking about your showing assistant. Can you touch on that real fast on what that looks like when you go out of town? Because I know she's also a solo agent.
Okay, so I pay per door. And then with this specific showing agent, because paying per door was getting painful for me because of all of the offers that would have to get written, and then we would lose out. And so now I just give him a percentage of my once we close, and he's okay with that. So he's a newer agent. He's very detail oriented, which I like about him. And so he's not going to just hopefully, find a house and put me under contract, or I put myself under contract, and then we get to inspections and then they fall out during that period. So he's a little bit more mindful on that, but you have to find somebody that you trust. And because it has happened to me that somebody tried stealing my client, and I had to go after them for, the commission. And that was a hard lesson for all of us, because, they said that they looked up to me, and I'm like, well, if you looked up to me, you wouldn't have been stealing my clients. So, I asked for assistance, but it's, just find that person that is in need of money and that you're in need of, like, helping see the homes.
Yeah, I would say definitely have an
Thank you.
agreement in place. Like for my
Yeah.
team, we have agreement in place because we're basically referring business back and forth. But even if you're having a showing assistant that's not really on your team, but is filling in when you are out of town and they're just trying to learn, have some sort of agreement. I mean, you could just use a referral agreement, but there has to be something in writing, like Kaleena said, so that, if
Right.
there is an issue, you have some recourse. All right, everyone, we have to
Thank
jump
you.
off to our next call. Thank you so much. I love seeing these beautiful faces on here. And we'll let you know about the call next month. And this is also recorded and we put it on YouTube. So if you jumped in, I saw a lot of people, we had up to 90 people today. We're down to 43. So we lost a few that had to run, but this is recorded. So reach out to me. It's very simple. Brandy Coffey at thecoffeegroup.com. All right, everyone.
Thank you, Brandy. Thank you,
Thank
everyone.
you, Randy.
Thank you so
Congratulations.
much.
Thank you, Kaleena.